we're all here by divine appointment. Is there an answer? Oh yes, there is an answer. And that answer is Jesus Christ. The book of Revelations tells us the end is near, and you have a choice to make. Eternity's a long, long time. You can choose light or you can choose darkness. The choice is yours. As Jesus said, I am the truth. And the devil will tell you what you see is real and what you hear is real. But that is an illusion. That's the truth. We are all one. Christ said it. I am. You are. We are all one because Jesus Christ said it. I am the light. I am the way. And I am the truth.
Hey you guys, welcome back to another episode of Vamo Interviews. I have a very lovely and special guest. I know you guys know him, Glenn Ratcliffe. Hey Glenn, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Vanessa.
I'm really glad to have you again on the show, Glenn. And this time, of course, we're going to get more into the tested movement. So can you kind of tell us more about what is the tested movement?
Yes, the tested movement is actually a movement for spiritual liberation for the masses, including all the artists that have no voice and are not allowed to have their art shown because of a corrupt system. It's a movement to empower humanity. And as we all know, artists are the wayshowers. They have a connection to truth, which can liberate the masses. And of course, the powers that be don't want liberation because they're controlling us. And this control's insidious, really. Since Cain slew Abel, there's always been a dichotomy in human nature. There's always been a subject-object consciousness rather than a unified consciousness. This shows up in race, religion, power structures, hierarchies, kings and queens versus the peasants. All this is a dichotomy, where the actual truth is that we're all equal. That's the actual truth. So to liberate the world, we must first make everyone know that, empower the individual, because through mass empowerment, it will create what's called a paradigm shift through new thoughts, actions, and behaviors, because the universe is structured on energy. So the more people that come from love, peace, harmony, the higher the vibration of the planet will be. Now, this is a dangerous situation we're in right now. If you read the book of Revelation, other spiritual texts, prophecies of Nostradamus, etc., you'll see clearly and distinctly we are in a spiritual battle. It's a very, very critical time now. And the children of light, they're being summoned, the wayshowers, because we have to fight this. If you take careful analysis of, say, for example, the pandemic, as I call it, you had AIDS, Ebola, the pandemic. There seems to be a cyclical nature of a dis-ease that comes out and creates mass human genocide. Dis-ease, by the way, is lack of harmony. So if we're in harmony, there's no disease that can be allowed to come out. So once again, the most important thing is to understand. You have to step back and say, what is this trap? What is it? Well, we'll look at it very carefully. Big pharma will give out drugs with bad side effects, right? This is created a lot of times by special interest groups advocating the farmers put chemicals and sprays on their corn, and their ponds for the fish. And so we eat that, goes to the store, we get sick, we go to the doctor. It's a cyclical nature of human genocide. That's what's going on here. The banking industry, high interests, You buy a car, for example, you drive it around the block and it's lost $5,000, you know, because it's a used car, but you're paying this compound interest off of it at the beginning. So you're paying the interest up front. You're already upside down in a year. You know, the car's worth 20 grand and you're 30. That's one of the systems. You put your money in the bank and say $12 every month or $3 to draw out at the ATM. That's corruption. That's evil. That's not right. That's taking advantage of the regular guy.
Yeah.
So what's happening here is we are embroidered in a system that's been preset by the access of evil, by people, by the 1% who know what they're doing to keep us trapped and limited. And one of the things they'll do is they will stimulate what's called the mammalian brain. The mammalian brain is the prehistoric flight or fight mechanism, your comfort zone. So if you're constantly being bombarded with negativity, what's going to happen is you're going to shift into what's called survival modality, where you're going to be thinking about surviving. How am I going to pay the rent? What's next? What about this? You're going to be very fearful. Now, God is all powerful. And God is creative. God is love. God is expression. God is beauty. God is truth. So these things are taken from us by the way the system works. Social media is another example. They will create an algorithm on you. You'll start to get products that you think you need and you don't need. Social media can win elections. It can create, disruption in the school industry, can create a lot of problems. They can say, oh, you're just tagged in a photograph, and you go, whatever you're doing, you go and look at the photograph. So they get, oh, look at all the views we're getting here. Mr. Advertiser, see, you need to pay, you need to advertise with us. Really, it's a manipulation by the social. So social media, which was originally a good concept, to communicate with people, is now being used as a tool for people to buy products, to slant their opinion and manipulate them. So that's another, the access is evil, but you have a choice. You don't need to go on social media. Or, you have the power to choose. I don't need that. You don't need to put your money in the bag. You can put it under the mattress and lend it out for 10%. But you have a choice. The whole tested movement is to give the individual their power back by giving them a choice and by knowing they have a choice. 9 people out of 10 think they've no choice. Oh, that's the system. I got to do this. I got to do that. That's the way it is. That's the new law. This is this. This is this. No, that's not the case. The case is your soul is being raped by a corrupt system. And you've got to stop it. You've got to say, I've had enough. And one of the things you can do is understanding that you're in a trap. You cannot get out of a trap if you don't know you're in a trap. So it's like the blind leading the blind. These captains of industry, you've got the Apple phone, people in China paid $1 a day. They're committing suicide. They're jumping out the high buildings. And now they put a trapeze net so that people can't commit suicide. So why is that? Why is there wars? Why is there disruption? Why are the special interest groups advocating eating a lot of meat when we know clear and distinctly it causes diabetes and cancer, etc., etc.? So what's happening here is we're being given false information. And that's what the tested movement is. It's just to re-educate people. For example, in the school district, the kids, they have to pass a test to move to the next level, right? So if the test has got the wrong answers at the very beginning, what's going to happen is the children are led immediately into the trap, because they're taught what to think, not how to think, what to think. You think this way, this is this, this is this. So their identity is already being crystallized and their freedom's already being taken away. Because when you go to school, there's a certain history that they teach you, and it's false. But that's what they teach you. So you've got to go with what they teach you. That's why one of the things I advocate for very bright parents is homeschooling. I can give you an example. My daughter, she was at school, and she was getting average grades, And then we'd get that report card, and then we get one from Sacramento saying, "Oh, we hear your daughter's an excellent student. She's getting A's all over the place." And really, that was because the school wanted to create a blue ribbon effect to get funding. So they didn't really care about the individual. They cared about getting the funding. So they would mutate the actual grades to get funding. So that's really more evil. So the news, when you read the news, when you see the news, false news travels 6 times quicker than regular news. So if you get news of something happening, you believe it, you act a certain way. That act creates a reaction, traps you in the karma of your own weaving. So in order to break free, you first must, I call it being the silent witness, which is you step back and you step back and be the witness to what's going on. You don't react right away. You take your time, take a breath and go, okay, this is going on, that's going on. I don't need to be part of this. There's a law come out, you can say, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right to me. Take that law. The next thing I heard was that they're going to do away with Social Security. They're thinking of doing that. All the people who work very, very hard, for the money, maybe there'll be nothing left for them. So this is a very, very critical time. And this movement is to galvanize the world and to liberate the artists, the songwriters, the poets, the actors, the writers, to express this movement of freedom, to elevate humanity, to create a heaven on earth where love will conquer hate and right will conquer might.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, with this movement being the key for Vital Entertainers to openly promote peace and love throughout the industry, how will this project itself change not only the industry, but also be better for humanity?
It'll be better because the project itself will be like a blueprint. So in other words, people will see a blueprint for love and peace, and that will influence future projects. It'll influence the way people see the world, because we express what we know. So the whole purpose of Tested is to wake up the divinity within the individual. And so if we have divine beings and angels expressing all this beauty and love, what will happen is the evil, the captains of industry that are making these products and spraying, and the greenhouse effect is in place, and the wars where we're bombing the earth and destroying it, all this will go away, because there'll be a massive collection, there'll be critical mass will be attained, because there's 99% of us and 1% of them. It's just we have to wake up and realize that and connect, and not say, oh, okay, I'm just an individual, I'm an artist. No, you're not. First of all, you have God in your heart, and you have a lot of support throughout the world, people that believe in you, people that want to hear your song or your poetry or your dress design. You're not alone in this. You have to wake up to that fact. And the critical thing is you have to take action. It's no good knowing this when doing nothing. So the Tested movement is a blueprint, and the movie is a blueprint for artists. It's a call to action, because my saying in the movie is to know you're being tested is to know you can be free. It's not an ultimatum, oh, this is the way it is. No, it's a test. And I come from God, so I can pass that test. That's not going to get me, because I'm aware of what's going on. And I'll step back, and I will not be influenced by the system. So that's the process. Will be the movie. We also have a TV series where I'm going to engage socially conscious change makers. That's going to be called Macintosh. It's a cross between Kung Fu and Columbo, where the minister becomes a private investigator. And the first episode I wrote is, why are old people dying in the hospital when their insurance runs out? Why is that? Because they can't pay us, pull the plug. Mass human genocide, yet again. It's right before your eyes. So the TV series will stimulate the pilot, Macintosh it's going to be called, which will stimulate socially conscious change makers to be encouraged to submit their stories and their music for this TV series. So that's step 2 of this. So it's a process, but the whole key is to engage humanity in this movement and give them, oh, look at Tested, look at Macintosh. I want to do that. Yeah, love is stronger than hate. We don't need to do this. We can come from truth and beauty and love. We can love each other, and so the world will change.
Absolutely. And knowing this information for people who are now aware of it and the movement and what it stands for, how are people able to or will be able to spread the message of the tested movement and get others involved as well?
Well, that's a very good question. And right now, the movement has been written up in India, in 40 countries in the East, Australia, Switzerland, Germany, United Kingdom, here in the States. So it's just joining the dots. It's just having like an open community for all light beings to connect with each other. So the movement itself, the plan for the movement is to be in every country in the world, really, have a connection. And I think, with the communication tools we have now, that shouldn't be difficult. We should be able to connect to everyone. So the movement is really, to be honest with you, it's a movement in your own heart. It's an understanding that God is in your heart and that you're not just left out there with no one listening to you. Listen to God, love yourself, start loving others, and start connecting to people globally. If you go to testedthemovement.com, you'll see the website. You'll see podcasts. You'll see our point of view. Anyone's willing to join this. Anyone, you're open to join it. It's no problem. And that can be a foundation and a support mechanism, because the tested footprint, it's going to, like I say, it's going to engage TV, animation, fashion, music, products. It's not just a movie. It's like a name brand, a global name brand that will represent truth and love and elevation to the next level of understanding.
Absolutely. And Glenn, for people who are really interested to get started, how can people get started and join the movement today?
Well, to join the movement is very, very simple. First of all, love yourself and understand that you're making a giant step forward, not just for yourself, but for humanity, And I can be contacted on my email, glennratcliffe@icloud.com. And if you go to testedthemovement.com, you can engage in conversation there. And please, I encourage you to put down your frustrations, your anger, the situation you're in, because through collective consciousness and through understanding, we create a paradigm shift, and we can engage together and we can eradicate your fears and your doubts and give you a vehicle for your expression.
Absolutely. Glenn, I think this is such an amazing movement. I can't wait for people to actually get started and get on board with it. A lot of people are going to be like really life-changing movement for other people to be involved and amplifying those voices that are unheard. Absolutely.
Yes, that's exactly the point. Yeah, and the time is now, Vanessa. The time is now, because it's very simple. Look around you. What do you see? There's homelessness, right? There's wars, there's disease, there's fear. You have to wake up. You can't be crystallized by that. You have to take the shackles off and be free.
Yeah.
And know that you're important. Know that God rests in your heart and that you're special. And love yourself. And through that love, it will radiate to other people, and the consciousness will lift.
Absolutely. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us for this actually a lovely, amazing, and empowering interview. And I cannot wait for people to get started with the movement. Where can we stay connected with you on social media as well?
Yeah, Tested the Movie is the Instagram handle there. You can send a friend request to LinkedIn, and I'll respond there. And my Facebook page is Glenn Ratcliffe. So it's very simple. And I'd love to hear from all the artists out there who are struggling, all the artists who have a voice that's been stopped by this system. And so we can fix this. We can win this.